We'd also like your views on how we shape the future of road user charging. This is part of our commitment to help improve air quality, tackle the climate emergency and reduce traffic congestion. To see all our proposals and have your say, search TfL Clean Air. Consultation ends 29th of July. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
Like the postman, he always delivers.
We are not financial advisors.
You definitely have Eggy Boff.
There might be a little bit of Wayne Lineker involved.
And that's what makes this podcast the biggest in the UK.
You put him on his arse.
Sort of underwear situation.
Bad technique.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
I've never seen a funeral director so happy.
All I can see is goals that shouldn't have stood.
I've been dreaming about it.
No wonder the World Cup's in Qatar.
Hello and welcome to that Peter Crouch podcast. With him, Peter Crouch, Chris Stark and Statman Dave are here as usual. And I'm Clive Tilsley, the stout in their lager, back for the pod for a huge fee and already nervously looking through my script as to what else I've got to say. But I'm glad to be here.
I think what's amazing is Clive has obviously commentated on some of the biggest finals in football ever. And then there's this, which is sort of our final. And Dave, it's your first time, obviously, doing a sort of end-of-series thing on this podcast. It's almost, I don't know if you'd agree, Crouch, a bit of an initiation for Dave as well.
How you find it, Dave?
It's been good so far.
So, final podcast of the series. Obviously, we're going to make this a special one. We've got loads planned for you today. A momentous occasion. We're here in a Brewdog pub, which took the very first delivery of the Laout earlier today. We've also got a few guests with us. Sort of people that have maybe contributed throughout the series to the podcast. So welcome along everyone in the building. So to kick this off, obviously it's a very special episode because it's our end of series. And we've got a few friends with us. I also know, Crouchy, it's your anniversary today as well.
Why are you bringing that up?
And it's lovely that you could treat Abs to such a wonderful... Is this how it always is, Abs? Or...
To be fair, though, to Pete, I actually forgot it was our anniversary today. Because I know the date of our anniversary, but I didn't know it was today.
So actually, you're in the wrong.
I'm in the wrong. So
hold
I
on a minute.
actually can't complain.
I don't feel bad. I don't feel bad about bringing her here to this event.
But what I wanted to check was that you haven't sold this as, like... So tonight we're going out in London.
Oh, no, he did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, so I obviously picked the kids up from schools. Pete, meet me in London, meet me after work, doing something great tonight, and I'm here in wherever we are.
Yeah, you're not sure where you are you?
No.
That's so good.
Have you had
welcome to Brewdog.
A little sip of the Laout? Yeah.
I have. It's nice. It's like a fizzy irony drink.
We need to make a song out of that.
It's a fizzy irony drink.
Happy anniversary. I mean,
Thank you.
You've played this extraordinary, Pete.
There's nowhere you'd rather be, is there, really? Let's be honest. Just sat next to Clive Tilsley,
Yeah.
legend of commentary.
Is this the best anniversary you've ever had?
No. I'm just going to grin and bear it tonight, really.
Yeah. Good. And that's
That's the experience we're looking for.
it's incredible. Please let us know if you attempt a Crouchy anniversary and it goes horrendously wrong. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, so back to the event. We've got a couple of massive kegs of the Laout for our podcast party. We've got a load of friends with us that are going to be making their way through it. And, we're going to do the first tasting of the Laout. It's a very exciting moment, boys, isn't it?
What's amazing is people listening to the podcast also are able to buy that Laout and get it delivered to their house like this.
Crouch, are you happy with the can?
Well, I've explained before, Chris, I'm not too happy with the can, no. Chris looks all right, but he's masturbating.
You give with one hand, you take with the other.
Another listener who played a crucial role in making this happen is Simon, who designed the can, Crouchy in his underpants.
Right, so I've seen Simon looking over my right shoulder here, and talk me through it, Simon.
I feel like we've got off on the wrong foot, really, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, you obviously, it's an amazing design, but what did
What's
you...
with the pubes?
I'm just, I'm not a hairy man.
No. So when I was running while I was listening to the podcast, you see, and I was trying to incorporate as many podcast bits and bats that I could do, and I could have just done a gold and black half and half can, but I just knew it wouldn't have the
impact.
The impact, and I wanted to do something that had the energy and the fun of the podcast.
Simon, can you confirm what my hand is doing with your creative mind?
To be fair, when I'm drawing it or illustrating it, I was trying to pick out points that had a point to talk about.
Yeah.
So I know it might get mentioned on the podcast. So I knew that looked like your hand might be near your pelvic
Somewhere else.
region. Yeah.
Tossing myself off.
But it's obviously supposed to be holding a pint glass with a pump.
Yeah, like you say, it's a talking point, isn't it?
That's great. It's great. And how are you feeling about seeing it as an actual drink?
Just mental, innit? To be honest, sat here drinking something that, as Peter said, I doodled in my room.
It's like we do this podcast, we sit in the corner of a pub and we say things, and then everyone that listens piles in and sort of brings it to life. And that's what you did, Simon, with this can, you just sent it in, and now we're all sat around talking
Drinking
about something that's actually, it's been a proper team
And
effort.
it's quite good as well, which, unbelievable. It's good.
All right, Simon, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to say to everyone listening? Is there any sort of speech you want? Any
No,
moment?
not particularly. Just go out and buy it and enjoy it and take loads of photos and CC me in. And
Yeah. So anyone who wants to can buy the cans, but we're about to get a draft pint thanks to the Beer Whisperer. Go on, the Beer Whisperer.
Beer Whisperer, can we have a quick chat with you?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me back.
That's a pleasure, mate. Because do you know what? This is an idea that came about from this podcast.
Cheers.
And you've actually made it happen. So I'd like to thank you for that.
Well, it wasn't just me. It was the Beer Wizard up at HQ and the whole team. So I'd like to thank the whole Brewdog team for helping pull this off. It's been a long time coming, and it's amazing to see the cans out there and have the beer pouring on tap, and really nice to enjoy it with you.
Are you telling me that this is going to be on draft, this stuff?
Yeah, this is fresh out the keg. I'm really happy with how it's come together. We did a lot of hard legwork in that previous pod, tasting all those beers and getting the blend just right. And I think we've managed to kind of distill that down into the glass here.
Crouchy, I think it's only right. Your name is above the door here. Do you want to take the first sip?
It's Peter Crouch, this man who used to play football for England. No, really, he did. He's got more goals for England than Gary Neville. But this is the pinnacle of his career. This may be as good as Peter Crouch's career gets.
This is fucking amazing, Clive.
Yes! Come on!
cheers to that.
It's real.
Paddy, you've done some pretty tough stuff in your career so far. How tough was this assignment?
It was pretty hard to get this one right, but only really because Crouchy's specifications were so exacting. There was not a lot of wiggle room. Most relationships are kind of give and take, but with him and designing
Very
this beer,
demanding.
it was all take. I think we managed to nail what he wanted and get it in the glass. We got the crispness of the lager, the refreshment. It's a hot day beer. It's a summer's beer, which is good because it's sunny and summery here. So it's a beer you can have on a hot summer's day. It's a beer you can have after a match. Refreshes you, but you've got that little chocolatey, malty nuttiness of a stout. So I think we managed to combine those two. We're pretty happy with that.
But you know what? I probably won't get the opportunity to make a beer again.
Yeah, not with us. No.
Yeah. So,
But
I
you won't
wanted it
need
to be
to,
right.
will
I'm
you?
like, you're making me out to be like Mariah Carey. Like, I just wanted like a nice. I want it to be.
No, but it is right.
Correct.
No, you've done the right thing.
Yeah.
It's better we do it. We always say this with a podcast. We do it properly. If we're going to do it, we'll do it properly.
do it.
And that's
Just
that's
do
what
it
you've done.
properly.
Yeah, no half measures.
No, I'm really pleased with it. So thanks a lot.
So, if you want to join in and experience the taste sensation that is the Laout, Dave, what have you got to do?
You got to go onto the Brewdog website, brewdog.com/laout.
Yeah, so we should say at this point, we've only produced a limited number of cans, so you've got to be quick on this. It's one of those. It's like Bitcoin, you've got to be in now if you want in.
No, Bitcoin's crashing.
Oh, is it crashing?
Yeah,
Clive?
no.
Invest in Laout rather than Bitcoin. That's what we're saying.
We are not financial advisors.
At least it's something you can see.
And I think it's going to be great. Like, we see so many people sending pics to us on socials when they're out of a weekend and celebrating things, and they're making the drinks themselves with whatever ingredients they have around them. I think what's going to be great is if you can get hold of these cans and enjoy them. Maybe you're part of a football team, or maybe you're just using them for pre-drinks, whatever. Send us photos, videos, make sure you tag us in. I think it'd be great to see the Laout get out there, won't it, in the real world?
Even now, like, I'm looking round and people are sipping loads as if it's normal. It's mind-blowing.
I think it's fair to say it's been a massive team effort since we started talking about this. The only reason this is really happening is because you guys have got involved and made songs and made adverts and have really bought into the ridiculousness of this. Because as much as it's cool, it is also, if we're being honest, it's totally ridiculous. And one of my favourite things about this journey and making the low, I'm sure you boys will agree, is the fact that people have been making songs. And we're going to do a couple of these throughout the podcast because we like a bit of music on the end of series, don't we?
Yeah, I think it makes it, and some of the videos that we've had sent in of people creating songs have been absolutely phenomenal, like mind-blowing, really.
It's mad. You load up Twitter and bang, there's a new song. And it gets you pumped in the morning. Sometimes when you wake up, you feel a little bit drowsy. A loud song comes on and you are ready for that day.
I just can't believe the creativity of some of these songs, Like, we started, obviously, the Mike Dean song I thought was phenomenal. But then, people have gone out and done a Laout song and, put it to different types of tracks.
Yeah, totally. Let's introduce Nathan to the podcast right now. This was one of our favourite songs. Nathan, you created it. It was all your idea. You sent it in. We found it very funny. But you're standing here today and I believe you're going to perform it. Welcome along.
Hello, welcome. Thank you.
You're right, Nate.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living then? Like, explain the context, because this must be weird right now, right?
Absolutely weird, yeah. Yesterday I was quality testing aerospace parts to make sure that they work properly and distributing them around the world. So,
which do you prefer?
This. We were listening to one of the other songs that had been on the pod previously, and I was like, shall we do one to my son Harry? And he was like, yeah. So he was like thinking, he makes me listen to England songs over and over again. So we use the other version.
The Dizzy and Corden.
Dizzy and Corden version. Because he listens to it as an England song. The process was like, we heard it and I went, yeah, that'll do. And like bang, and we recorded it and we sent it in. So.
All great artists work that way, don't they? Some of the greatest songs
Some of the greatest songs on earth have started from that process. And, here you are now, but, who knows where this is going to lead.
I think we let you have your moment now. And Nathan, from all of us, we'd just like to say thank you for your service. You're about to perform for Peter's lovely wife and family there and an assortment of my friends, various other people that have come along for this special recording.
Yep.
And this could be a moment. This is Nathan with his cover of Tears for Fears or Dizzy and Corden, depending on which way you look at it.
Alexa, resume. Loud, lager and stout. The Brewdog beer wizard knows what we're about, so come on. We're talking to you. Come on, have a loud if you think you're parched enough. Loud, lager and stout. The Brewdog beer wizard knows what we're about, so come on. We're talking to you. Come on, have a loud if you think you're parched enough.
Oh, my word. Well done, Nathan.
Oh, we're off to a flyer.
Wow. So we promised at the start of the series to give away Crouchy's England Man of the Match champagne to the person who passes the pod in the most ingenious or effective way. And now it's time to actually give that bottle away, Crouchy. All good with you?
It's all good.
We've had people passing the pod in public toilets, in various different ways in public toilets, in fact. Postmen adding it to letters, supermarket workers putting podcast messages onto orders containing pancakes. There's been
I've enjoyed recently. I've enjoyed the vans with the pass the pod.
Dirty vans.
Usually it's like my wife's filthier than this. That's usually the tagline.
If you think this is dirty, you should see my wife.
This is dirty, yeah, that kind of stuff. Boring. Pass the pod in the dirty van. It's going really well.
Yeah,
it's a serious campaign.
Clive Tilsley just looking on in absolute horror.
I don't think he knows where he is. It's a career low for Clive.
If you think this is dirty, you should see my wife in front of Clive Tilsley. And he just turn around and look.
Sometimes silence is golden in commentary.
I know.
But we have done some work though, Chris. We've actually narrowed it down to our favourite people that have passed the pod and got in touch. Should we start with the nominations, Crouchy, for you?
Yes.
Love to. First up, Marcus Wyatt. who, of course, was part of the GB skeleton team. He sent a photo of how he was passing the pod on his skeleton.
Yeah, this was amazing, wasn't it? We saw it, like, I think he was putting it on his board, and obviously he slides down at a ridiculous speed. And possibly you said, I think it was one of your stats was the fastest ever passing of the pod.
Yeah,
Dave.
look, we've talked about the highest, we've talked about the fastest, and I think for me this is a good one.
Dave, can we get another nomination?
We've got another one this time from Callum Shipton. I was on a cruise ship in a jacuzzi and end up by passing the pod to everyone in the tub. We're all getting along until one of them said, Eggy Boff first to leave. Over the course of 3 hours, we were asked to leave multiple times before they drained the tub. Eventually, one lad gave in, got out, followed by him buying the round.
Yeah, like this reminds me of good memories, the Eggy Boff stories.
You've broken the seal on Eggy Boff, though, because I've heard other footballers now going on podcasts and they often get asked about Eggy Boff. And then they add in their own stories, a lot of which I think you were involved in because they've been teammates.
But it's a legend. Like the players before me had it, and it was passed down at a young age to me at Tottenham, and it's just carried on. And I'm seeing it moving through young players now, and it's I feel pride. I feel pride in that.
I can't imagine Kevin De Bruyne doing Eggy Boff for some reason.
Oh, you'd be surprised. You'd really be surprised.
I think what's the age that you've brought into this? Like, is it 17? Is it 21? Like, when do they sit you down and say, Eggy Boff is a real thing here?
It's a youth team kind of scenario, and you'd think you'd grow out of it, but I can assure you don't.
I think they've got regulations to stop that now.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah. It's a different game now, Clive. Kids.
Have you ever Eggy Boffed your wife?
Not in the game sense, but you definitely have Eggy Boffed.
So Eggy Boff, the name of it derives from something that smells so bad that you can't go near it. So imagine a boff of egg. So basically, like, if you're Eggy Boff, if you move first, you're Eggy Boff, you'd be like, oh God, don't go near him. So that's where it comes from.
We need Susie Dent to do it as word of the day.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we got her to do shithouse as word of the day?
Yeah.
What have you ever been so close to just calling someone a shithouse on commentary?
Twat is my...
Twat. You got near to a twat.
I think every commentator should be allowed one fuck per season. You have to use it...
Great point.
You have to use it very, very carefully. Rather like a cricket captain decides on the review, Crouchy does one of his bicycle kicks and it goes in the top corner. You've then got to ask yourself, is that my fucking hell for the season, or shall I keep it back?
Yeah, you do, because you might miss a real, like, Aguero moment.
Yeah.
Like,
so that would have been, Martin Tyler would have gone, fuck!
Like, fucking hell! You'll never see this again!
Clive Tilsley's getting one fuck per season, everyone.
All right, guys, I've got another nomination from Ian, which is a fantastic name. I'm so pleased that Ian's got in touch.
You're right, because they were dying out. And then...
There's Ian's everywhere.
It's crazy, because I read something which is now like Ian's... it's a popular name.
I think it's coming back. I mean, it was dying out, but I think now, like, it's reviving it. I feel like in some small part we've had an influence on that.
Oh, I hope so.
Absolutely chumbawumbered it.
Ian says, I told my mate about the podcast. I just told him. Nothing special, really. But if I win the champagne, Crouchy can keep it. It's only right and proper. That's a beautiful thing from Ian. Because he knows that I'm not too pleased about giving it away, really. It's a man of the match champagne. You might have been commentating, Clive. It's an England game.
Yeah, England Andorra. You stole it from Theo Walcott.
Yeah, but yeah, that might be true. Yeah, we've got this anyway, and that's a nice thing to say for me. He means a lot to me, you know. And,
it's a little bit
really want to
parched
give it away
from Ian Nunn there,
isn't
it? I think it's a potential Peter Parching.
What about Alfie, Chris?
Yeah, I like this. I think it's a good nomination. Alfie Parnell. Hello. Now, he was the first person to design T-shirts with names on the back for his lad's holiday to Krakow. This is one of my favourite stories in the series. I think we can all agree. So the background is we asked Joe Cole and Crouchy to pick a few managers that they'd like to go on holiday with.
Let's go through it. Like, Sven's getting the ladies, right? Redknapp's got stories for days. Ancelotti the same. Avram's a lunatic. Joe Cole was there. I was there. Ten Hag's your mate that you don't know anything about. It could be a wild card, could be like carnage, could be boring as fuck. And then Rafa Benitez, just to round things up and go, lads, we need to go home now. We need to just to organise sort of everything on the stag. So it works really well.
Yeah, and we put the picture up on the socials, and a lot of people were loving it. It was so amazing to see it happen. Have we had a reaction from Joe Cole yet? We need to try
I
and
spoke
get
to him.
that.
I was with him
did you?
today. Yeah, I was with him today.
Has he seen it?
I've showed him it. He was flabbergasted. He didn't think it would happen.
Yeah.
He couldn't believe that it would actually happen, and he's desperate to know what exactly is happening on the stag do. So he needs updates regularly. He's told me.
So, boys, a few nominations there. Alfie Parnell, Callum Shipton, Ian Nunn, Marcus Wyatt. Some great stories. Crouchy, choice is yours.
Now, I've got to go with Alfie Parnell. I feel like he's organised a lot of stuff there. He's gone on a stag do with all those people, like with the names on the shirts, and, you know, pray for him, because I hope they all come back safe. But I'd like to award him the champagne on their arrival
back into the UK.
I hope they spray it around the airport and everything. That'll be a real...
Give it to Avram, let him spray it around.
Give it to Avram.
So we've just given Crouchy's champagne away. We've also got an update on the mankini that we gave to listener Jay, the loser of his fantasy football leagues, and to wear a bikini to the darts this summer.
Yeah, so Tom is the unfortunate victim, and we're going to make him dress up like that. He's asked us to decide what fancy dress theme the rest of the group should follow. Clive, any themes? Commentators.
Yeah, we all dress a little differently. Mercifully.
Do you not like the idea of a chicken being slaughtered live at the darts by Mike Dean?
I love that idea, Chris. I'm just not sure that's going to happen.
Get a conga going, couldn't you, with the chickens at the front, Mike Dean?
But you know how the chickens walk down, and then Mike Dean stands on the stage and slaughters one of them. It would be phenomenal.
Or different
Slightly
animal.
barbaric.
You could have gazelle.
The crowd would go
false
mad.
gazelle. You could have a false gazelle.
I don't deny for a second the crowd will love it, but I just don't think we'll get it through.
So I think how that would work is every one of your group
try
is...
to dress up like Peter Crouch on the can.
Genius move.
That is it. That is big.
And if you haven't got stubble on your upper thigh, then you'll just have to draw it.
Like me.
Yeah.
I haven't got stubble on my...
We need Abby on this, I'm afraid.
Well, she's gone. She's had enough.
She's actually gone.
Anniversary's too fucking gone.
Chumbawamba and all that, it's all fine.
Oh, I've Chumbawambaed many a time.
You're going to have a major Chumbawamba tonight, I feel. So, I think that's a genius shout. So, everyone dressed like Crouchy on the can of low. So, a Mike Dean Slaughter's chicken shirt, a little pink sort of underwear situation,
Lipstick.
and headphones.
It's lipstick, isn't it?
The good news is we're just confirming arrangements with the PDC about getting Tom and his mates on stage, which I think could be an amazing moment.
Transport for London is proposing to extend the ultra-low emission zone London-wide in August 2023. Most drivers have compliant vehicles and would not pay the ULEZ charge. Drivers of non-compliant vehicles would have to pay £12.50 to drive within Greater London each day. We'd also like your views on how we shape the future of road user charging. This is part of our commitment to help improve air quality, tackle the climate emergency and reduce traffic congestion. To see all our proposals and have your say, search TfL Clean Air. Consultation ends 29th of July. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
Hey there, listener. Do you have something to say? Then you're already a podcaster. You just don't know it yet. Whether you love to shoot the breeze with friends, have an urge to share your passion with the world, or even want to grow your business, you've got something worth saying with a podcast. With Acast, it couldn't be easier to start your own show, launch, grow, and make money from your podcast across all listening platforms. If you have something to say, you're a podcaster. Head over to acast.com to get started for free.
Good news, everyone. We've been joined by the man who can be credited with starting off the low jingles that everyone's been making and posting on social.
What a legend.
Sam Hart is here. Hi, Sam.
Sam Hart, wow.
So, Sam, you produced the first jingle that we heard on the podcast this series.
Yeah.
Talk us through everything that's happened.
Well, it's been a whirlwind, to say the least. So, yeah, it just sort of one Sunday playing cricket, trying to pass some time in the field. I was going through songs, did a bit of Salt and Pepper, Push It, and things like that. And then Let's Get Loud, Let's Get Loud comes into my head, and I'm down at 45 on the one. I'm going, Let's Get Loud. And then I just stand there and go, hang on, Let's Drink Loud. Put it together, Let's Drink Loud. It's a lager and a stout, sorted. Didn't record it till the Monday. had a break during. So I'm a funeral director,
Right.
and so
Chumbawamba.
Chumbawamba. There's not many Chumbawambas at work. So I've had to go to a church, and I've done what I need to do. So I've gone back out to the car.
So hold on. So sorry. You're in a funeral thinking about Jennifer Lopez.
Let's drink loud.
Yeah, but a somber version. So I've taken the service sheets into the church, and then I've come out, got back into the car, and I was like, right. So it's family business. I was like, I can't go straight back to the office. I'll just record the jingle. So that's when I recorded the voice note.
Recorded it in a hearse?
No, in a Ford Galaxy, not in a hearse. Can you imagine if it was in the hearse?
The coffin in the back, and he's singing,
let's drink that. So record it, sent it off, thought, I won't hear anything back. And then I was driving to work on the Wednesday that it was put out, and like stopped at traffic lights and just see my phone go ping, 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 ping. And it's like all these different people going, right, I'm listening to the podcast. So I was like, right, got to get that straight on. But I'm still getting people now who are saying, right, have I just heard you on the podcast, because they're behind.
And now you're here.
Yeah, it's mental. It's like, put the song in. I thought, right, brilliant. It's been on the podcast, great. To then get an email saying, what are you doing on this Wednesday? I've cancelled 2 funerals, sorted. I've got to be there. Sorry, I'm going to see Crouchy. Someone else can do it. Wow. So, no. I've got cover. My dad. As soon as I told my dad, he was like, "Right, I will cover you. You go see Crouchy. You can't let this go.
You can't miss this." So good.
So here's what happened, Sam. So what we did is we took your song, and we just thought it was so special. We wanted to try and elevate it to the highest level we could. Yeah. So both Crouchy and I contacted J-Lo and relevant people around her, and you would not believe how many emails, how much has been sent, and there's messages that were going back and forth. Now, sadly, Jennifer Lopez can't be here tonight. Me and Crouchy and Dave, we had a chat, and we were like, what can we do next? So we managed to find the best J-Lo tribute act in the UK and bring them here tonight to make your song a reality.
Unbelievable.
Give it up for Bethany, everyone. Where do we start with this? I don't want to say your second choice, because you're not. Obviously, we did go for J-Lo first.
I truly am, and you should just be honest about that.
But that's the nature of being a tribute artist, I guess, isn't it?
Yes, that is. I'm South East London's best alternative, I'd say, yeah.
That's funny, because we had Andreas Iniesta, and he was from South London as well. So is that a thing in South London?
I don't think we're known for it. I wouldn't say it's our biggest industry or export. But
Bethany, would you say it's... how does this rate in terms of bookings? Strangest?
As far as J-Lo goes, this is definitely the
okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Normally it's just sort of auditioning as J-Lo. This is pretty niche.
Yeah. Right.
And how have you come to be here today?
One of my friends actually listens to the podcast and heard about the fact that you needed someone to sing this J-Lo song. Coincidentally enough, I'd auditioned for her for a 90s pop musical, and for the audition I sang J-Lo Let's Get Loud, because let's be honest, it's a bop. And it just, we always used to laugh at it. It really stuck with us. That's what I sung. And then she contacted me and was like, they need someone to sing J-Lo Let's Get Loud. And it's the obvious choice.
It really is.
Wow.
I'm so excited you could be here. And then I also want to introduce everyone, reintroduce everyone, I guess, to my good friend, always steps up, Majestic. Yes, mate.
The Joker in your pack. Every time you need something, I'm here and I.
Always. Whenever we want to make a show, Crouchy, it's like, first call, Majestic.
Yeah.
Always ends up being a bit last minute, if I'm honest, but that's cool.
But we always come through.
Like the postman, he always delivers.
Obviously, you're massive now. Like, everyone knows you, but you still give me time, and you still, whenever this podcast needs you, step up. And Crouchy, you've become a big fan of Madge's now.
Yeah,
right?
no, huge fan. And like I said, the DJ Luck and MC Neat thing, that was something that, you know, I grew up with. I went to Iron Napa, and that was like that tune. So for you to do that, like, and personalise it to the pod was phenomenal. I still play it now.
So we've obviously got funeral directors jogging on work today. I'm going to tell you who I've jogged on today. Chase and Status.
Really?
I was supposed to be doing an interview with Chase and Status today. I've moved it to tomorrow. So Crouchy and Starkey come before Chase and Status.
Totally.
What else? Oh yeah, then I literally have had no sleep because yesterday I was in Ibiza performing with Craig David and come straight back off the plane, no sleep, in the studio, literally wrote this.
It's nuts.
all day.
We've been WhatsApping each other all day, and it genuinely, I know because you were messaging when you were at the airport last night, very late last night.
You were worried.
I
I've
was
always
worried.
come through. I've never ever let you down, but you was definitely worried.
I'm really pleased you can.
How are you feeling, Sam? Like you got obviously Majestic, like has changed your.
When I got the
trip.
call up, I didn't think it would go to quite this level. I thought it'd be like, come on, you're gonna sing 3 lines of Let's Drink Loud and then go home. So this is just ridiculous.
I've never seen a funeral director so happy.
Mate, honestly, Clive, the amount of people that go to me, you're a funeral director, but you're so smiley. It's not ideal, but, we work with it.
Yeah. I'm not having him.
Not ideal.
No.
All right, then, enough of the chat. Here we go. Please give it up for our very own J-Lo and the UK's finest, Majestic.
Turn out. Peter Crouch podcast, the grand finale. J-Lo's in the building. Everyone sing.
Let's drink loud. Let's drink loud. It's the lager and it's the stout. Let's drink loud. Let's drink loud. It's the lager and it's the stout. Let's drink loud. Let's drink loud. It's the lager and it's the stout.
Yeah. Majestic's back in its Series 6. Let's get loud, but it's the remix. The boys are back, yeah, Stucky and Crouch. Has anyone asked if J-Lo's about? Oh, well, a straight no from J-Lo. Let me ask Camilla Cabello. She was ready to be like the loud, and then the manager figured us out. All right, let's start again. Jump on the call with the Baja men. Feels like no one wants to back loud. I think we need a new manager. Bounce out, loud. What's it about? Is it a lager? Is it a stout? Come on, go and you think you're partial enough. Sing the chorus.
Let's drink loud. Let's drink loud. It's the lager and it's the stout. Let's drink loud. Let's drink loud. It's the lager and it's the stout.
We had Joe Cole and David James introducing Statman Dave. He's making stats look sexy. Down your drink when he says XG. By crouching the pods on the roll. Top of the charts, top of the polls. 100 clubs at risk, no goal. Charge at a free kick like Joe Cole. The pod came back from a slumber. Ain't going down Chumbawamba. Buying bling from H.M. Samuel.
He went over his ankle.
Jeff Shreves, what's going on? The myth, the legend, the FIFA Don.
At the moment, staying on. Cheers, Jeff.
Let's drink loud. Let's drink loud. It's the lager and it's the stout. Let's drink loud. Let's drink loud.
And you know the players love a bit of end of season with Uncle Wayno. It goes like this. Yo, and now it's time for the goose shit. Loosen our beats with a bottle of Grey Goose. Forget about Pep Guardiola, Wayne Lineker and Corona. The season's done, it's off to Spain. Fun in the sun with Uncle Wayne. Last game's at the end of school. With a bomb like Jermaine. Wayne's in the pool.
Let's drink loud. It's the lager and it's the stout. Let's drink loud. Let's drink loud. It's the lager and it's the stout. Let's drink loud.
Wow.
What a vibe.
That was absolutely class.
I've got to give it up, everyone. Bethany, our brilliant J-Lo.
Bethany.
And I say this every time, unrivaled, world class, the UK's finest, Majestic.
Let's go!
Follow that. And we can. They've already covered a lot on this podcast so far. We've got one more special performance to come, but not before Statman Dave pulls out his party trick.
It's a party trick that's taken a bit of time. Majestic's not slept in 2 days. I've not slept in 7. I've been watching every single goal that Crouchy scored to get to the 100 club over and over again. Different angles, different mediums. I've been dreaming about it.
Dave, have you actually gone through my 100 and whatever goals?
We're looking at the 100 club. We're focusing on the 100 club.
I can't. Am I in it or not? Like,
Hold on, no. You can't just spunk it out.
I want it over with, Chris.
What this is about, if you are new to this podcast, is there is a slight suspicion that if you go back and look at all of Crouchy's goals, that he might not be in the 100 club.
Yeah, so but let's be honest with this right now, right? I am in the 100 Club. It's in the record.
You're in
block.
for now.
Yeah, it's in there. It's in the books, right? You can't change that now. Clive, you're a stat man. You know it's in the books, right? These are trying to take away.
I'm not.
You are.
I'm not.
You are.
I'm not
I'm a
at
great
all.
fan of the Dubious Goals Committee, and they have the final ruling.
Crouchy, I'd love nothing more than for you to be in the 100 Club. It's it's better for our podcast that you are in it.
Yeah.
But it's right that we're on the right side of history with the truth. And the thing is, Dave, you've obviously looked into every goal.
Yep.
It's a funny one, this one, isn't it? Because Crouchy hasn't really signed up to this. He's happy for there to not be a debate. But I think it's important we do this.
My issue with it, Dave, is that I know all I can see is goals that shouldn't have stood. So I know there's a handball against Arsenal. There's another handball against Swansea. It's a foul against Man City. There's issues with some certain goals. I can't think of any that I should have been given.
That's 105. Then.
Exactly.
Carry on.
So I'm worried.
No, to be honest, we looked at those. The Arsenal one was big. I didn't think it was handball. I gave you that. The City one, Gareth Barry, you put him on his arse. You really did put him in his arse, and then you banged in one of the greatest goals we've seen in the Premier League.
Yeah.
I also think.
Are you saying it was a foul?
No, I think he was weak. I think Gareth Barry was weak.
Oh, thanks, Dave.
Hold on. I don't want this to be a statty parching. I don't want this to be. There's a slight suspicion here.
Stathousery. Is it Stathousery?
It is. It is. You're a stat man.
You can see the blue paper here, right? We've got blue paper with. I've literally watched every single goal.
But it's not about me. It's about whether you're in the 100 Club, and that's the big question that's almost riddled this podcast. Is it a bed of lies that we lie on? Should Crouchy really have the lifestyle that he has?
Yeah.
Should Abby really view you the way she does? Like, is she actually going out with a fraud?
Chris,
am I still married to a fraud?
We're going to be able to answer that right now today. So, Crouchy, there was one potential offside, goal 11 in the Peter Crouch career, but I have looked multiple angles and we're okay with signed off. So your Southampton goals signed off, Peter Crouch. Let's go. Liverpool is next. When I say Liverpool, is there anything that you are in fear of? Is there anything you're thinking that is a problem right now?
Yeah, there was a couple. There was one against Shay Given, I think, that went out, potentially didn't go over the line, but I think it did.
It's fairly fundamental, that.
I think it did. No, I'm quite confident. You're not.
What about the first goal, the 19th goal of your career in the Premier League?
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
What happened?
Talk
me through the goal.
No, I struggled to get off the mark for a long time at Liverpool, and I've just been signed after Liverpool won the Champions League, so I need to deliver quickly, and I very much didn't. So yeah, then there was a game against Wigan, and I hit this shot. It's hit someone else, and then always remember it. Mike Pollitt palmed it into his own net. So it was basically I was the third last person to touch the ball, and they gave it to me.
So Ian Dezou was the defender.
Yeah.
He used the long barrier. Bad technique?
No, I mean he wasn't expecting me to shoot from there. I haven't scored from there ever, so he probably wasn't expecting it. It took a deflection, then Mike Pollitt own goal.
So we've spoke to FIFA. We spoke to FIFA about this. We've spoke to the Premier League. We've really gone into a serious level of detail, and FIFA pointed me to a 1997 decree they put forward, which was FIFA issued a detailed guidelines for crediting own goals. They recognised an increased commercial importance of statistics such as the top goal scorer and fantasy football.
That's FIFA's rule.
That sounds mental.
No wonder the World Cup's in Qatar.
But the guidelines state that the credit for scoring is decided by the referee or match commissioner, which moves on to the dubious goals panel. Chris, you described them once as football's faceless men.
Faceless men, yeah. An Illuminati that exists to shatter Peter Crouch's dreams.
As a rule, they go down the line of if the initial attempt is goal bound, it is credited to the player making the goal attempt.
Clive's looking at you like a proud son right now. It's an amazing thing to see.
So, Dave, have they taken it off me? Are you taking it off me?
We've spoke to FIFA. We've built an AI. We've done a lot of work on this.
He's amazing.
And I can say today, with a 95% accuracy, that the shot was going to hit the target, Crouchy. So you have got the goal.
Well done, Crouchy.
That's a real relief for me. I'm worried that it's potentially not right, but I'm going to go with it.
No, but it's there.
The stats are there.
It's there. It's in technology. The last little thing, though, that I touched on when I was going through the goals, we speak about Parch in quite a negative way on this podcast. From goal 95 to 100, Charlie Adam, Parched, was directly involved in 4 out of the 6 goals.
I totally agree with you. Like, Parched, or Charlie, as we used to call him, was phenomenal. So honestly, his left foot was a wand. Probably one of the most underrated players that I've ever played with. Technically gifted, honestly, he genuinely was. And he created most of my goals. And I loved it when he was in the team because he always looked forward. He was one of those players that instead of receiving the ball, just giving it back, he'd turn and he'd try and do things with it. And he'd try and find me. And even from deep, that doesn't surprise me that he created so many goals for me.
The last little thing, so goal 100. Who was it against?
Oh, that was against Everton.
Against Everton.
Yeah.
Was it?
You did the robot.
I did, because I said, I've never done it in club football, and I'm saying it like it's a fucking anyone really cares, but bizarrely they do. So I said, I've never done it. I did it twice for England, lots of times on a dance floor, as my friends can.
Yeah, I've got to ask this. Abby, did you know when he was going to score his 100? Did you know he was going to do the robot? Like, were you looking out for
Are you joking? Ab didn't know if I was playing. She was wondering where I was.
I don't really watch football.
Have you ever done the robot?
No, Chris.
Ab break dances.
Everyone?
You are horrible.
Let's drink loud. Let's drink loud. It's a lager and it's a stout. Let's drink loud.
Go on, Abby. Go on, Abby.
Wow. That was absolutely brilliant.
Wow, boy.
So, Dave, what do we need to do to confirm this for Crouchy? Let's get this weight off his shoulder.
Yeah, so we've done it. We've done all the clubs. We've done Liverpool, we've done Spurs, Portsmouth. There was some scissor kicks in there. A lot of headed goals, 48 in the Premier League, which is absolutely fantastic. Stoke, the goal against Manchester City was an absolute joke. As we mentioned, Gareth Barry got bullied. You bagged the goal from about 30 yards with a volley that was just ridiculous. And that's it. The last one was the square, the tap-in. That was it. So, Peter Crouch, I can confirm you are still in the 100 Club.
There you go. The worst thing is, it does mean a lot, and I don't know. It was in there anyway.
You have lost one major record though this season.
What's that?
The oldest player in the Premier League to join the 100 Club.
Yeah, who nicked that off me?
Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Some small-time player that
you know
played
what?
for a few
Loads
clubs.
of my records have been beat by Ronaldo.
You win some, you lose some, Crouchy.
It's a great record, Joe. It's a great record. But do you know what, actually? Let me just... I've actually got more goals than Ronaldo in the Premier League. Still. Like, he's reached the 100 Club. I got 108. So technically, I am a better player than Ronaldo in the Premier League.
This has been a lot of fun today. You enjoyed it, boys?
Absolutely.
I've loved every minute of it, honestly, Chris.
Okay, we are approaching the end of this pod, but not before one more special performance. Friend of the pod, Joel Stewart, has joined us to have a low. How are you, man?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on. Yeah,
Your
it's
journey on this podcast has just been incredible. I mean, you sent a song in to us, and then we played it to Prince William. We loved it so much. Do you remember it was in that lockdown time, and I don't know, we were all quite stuck in,
Yeah, like just it was actually a really good song. We weren't expecting it. Came from like left field, and similar to the Mike Dean song. And where did you write it and why?
The Mike Dean tune. Well, I don't know. Obviously, I'd done the song a couple of years ago now, which, like you say, like in that time, it was such a hectic time. The podcast in that moment seemed a bit more than a podcast. It was the closest you could get to being down the pub with your mates, and so obviously that song came out as quite a heartfelt message. So when I heard that, Mike Dean was retiring, I just, I felt like a lot of us in the past, including myself, would have said some pretty rash things to Mike while he's, out refereeing. And I thought he deserved the song to sort of say thank you, because I think he's added to the entertainment that we've had in the last 15 years.
And you count Prince William as a fan now. Like,
yeah, 100%.
What were your family and your mates saying about? Because we played this to him, and
when we played that to Prince William, like when you heard it on the pod, like how did that make you feel?
There's definitely some moments that like something happens and you just think like, how has this got here? Like right now, stood here next to you, having a chat with you guys. They're just moments that are just madness, and yeah, like occasionally I'll go back and listen to it and just think how like crazy. I think because the world at that point was so manic and hectic, it kind of blended into that. And now if I go back and listen to it, it's just it's nuts. It's crazy.
It's amazing what that song did for a lot of people listening. It sort of summed up everything I thought about the podcast, but you managed to do it in song. And then Mike Dean retires, and you piped up and was like, "I'll write a song about Mike Dean."
But I wasn't I really wasn't expecting something like this. Like with Mike Dean, like we got quite emotional about it, and I was thinking, like, actually, when you put it like that, like he's taken so much grief off probably me, off a lot of fans. But you think, like, when he explained it to us on the pod, like he's been through, so much to get to the pinnacle really of refereeing, and you probably don't see that. You hear about players' journeys, but you don't think about the referees' journeys. And then I think of all the grief I've given him and all the grief that fans have given him, and then he retires and you think, actually, he's been a good ref and he's brought a smile to people's faces. And then when you sang the song, I'm getting fucking emotional about Mike Dean.
When I sit down to write music, I don't want to stray too far from what like I feel like I do fairly well, and so whenever I sit down to write a song, it will always come out with like the most sort of heartfelt nature that you can give something. And so when it was about him, it was I kind of picked my favourite little moments that he'd had, but then made sure that it had the emotional side to it too.
But I also think we need to balance it though, because let's remember that Mike Dean obviously had an amazing career, but before that he did slaughter chickens.
Yeah.
And I think we need to
we have
remember
mentioned
that.
it once or twice.
Like some of the things at the darts, and
it's become a thing.
Like people at Mike Dean slaughters chickens. I saw one at Glastonbury, big flag.
Joel, you've written a song for Mike Dean. You're going to perform it for everyone in the building
Absolutely.
right now. I think it's such a fitting tribute to a guy we've had on the podcast. He was an amazing guest. I know he wants to come on again, and I think now he's retired, he'd be a fascinating guest to get on as well.
A lot of people have said a lot of nasty things about Mike Dean, but now Mike Dean, the referee, is no more. So let's have somebody to say some beautiful things about Mike Dean. Joel.
Story of a boy. Woo! From the chicken slaughterhouse to the lights and the noise, the FA Cup final and European games. Oh, Mike never changed, ref them all the same. Oh, and where will we be without you on our TV screens? The most card-friendly we've ever seen.
It's Mike Dean.
It's Mike Dean, Mike Dean. The funniest ref we've ever seen. seen. Mike Dean, Mike Dean, the chicken killing machine. And I'll never forget watching you celebrate a goal like you had scored it. So enjoy your time watching Tranmere with a beer by your side. Oh, weekends won't feel the same. No screaming at you at the game. Oh, Mike never changed. It's Mike Dean, Mike Dean, the funniest ref we've ever seen. It's Mike Dean, Mike Dean, the chicken killing machine. It's Mike Dean.
My only issue here is that you've set like a precedent now, like Clattenburg's fucked, isn't he?
Me and Crouchy and Dave, we've reached out to Mike Dean, obviously. He would love to have been here tonight. Sadly, he can't be, but he has sent this message.
Good evening, gents. Sorry I can't be with you this evening, but I have tickets for the Strictly Come Dancing tour, I'm afraid. Joel, absolutely fantastic song. Can't believe he put it together so quickly. Really is good. Everybody likes it. I don't think one person I know who doesn't like the song, so well done on that. Have a good evening, gents, and hopefully I'll catch up with you next season.
Can't be here because he's at the Strictly tour.
I think you might see Mike Dean on Strictly.
Oh, it's an
before the
exclusive.
end of the-
Mike Dean is doing Strictly from Clive Tilsley.
I didn't say. It's not confirmed.
So that's it. That's this series. And it took a long time for us to get to the stage where this series could come out. But thank you so much for all your messages that you've been sending in. Thank you so much for getting involved. As always, this podcast is largely defined by your stories and how you want to push it forward. And it's been a lot of fun, right?
Well, no, listen, you know, everything tonight has been listener-based. You know, everyone who's come on has emailed in or done a song for us. Joel's sitting right next to me now. He's done a Mike Dean tribute act. I'm sitting in front of a layout by, you know, Simon, who designed the can, bizarrely. And like the whole thing has been incredible. Again, another massive series, and we'll be back stronger pretty soon.
So here's the plan. I know last time we said we'll be back soon. We vanished for a period of time. I can tell you now, we're going to be back the 31st of August. That said, give or take a week probably, because I know we'll come to it and Crouch will be on holiday or something, and then
It's not even like
Jeff Shreves will get
don't
involved. and
Ask
you'll
Gab,
know
don't
something's
ask me.
happened.
I don't make the plans.
I'll be back 31st of August. Is that all right?
Fine, yeah.
We've penciled in a date, Crouchy, but what actually are you going to do during the break?
There might be a little bit of Wayne Lineker involved.
I'm going the opposite way, boys. I've been inspired by our chat about the Gooch and the pre-season and how different players can do it. Mbappe does it differently to maybe other players. And I'm actually going to get fit as fuck in the next couple of months. And I'm going to come back and you guys can be like, what the hell is going on there? Yeah. So my question to you would be, have you got enough people in your phone book that you could point me towards?
100%.
And by the time we do the next podcast, I'll be fucking fit.
We're talking 20 pancakes per five-a-side game.
But do you worry that you've said this now, and then when you come back stronger in August the 31st and you look exactly the same, that you might have shot your mouth off?
We'll see.
Oh, okay, all right.
Anyway, boys, enjoy your summer. Everyone listening, enjoy your summer. And if you have any questions you want to send through, honestly, it's not going to be that long till we do this again. Anything you think we should be covering, any little stories, any little threads maybe you're part of a football team that does some fun stuff that you think we should be getting involved in, let us know. We do read every email, and although we can't respond to everyone, we love to see the energy and effort of everyone getting involved with this podcast. And that's what makes this podcast the biggest in the UK, people. Woo! Have you enjoyed today, Crouchy?
No, I've loved it. Like every single series takes a different turn, and we end up like this series, for instance, where we've managed to get a drink together, which is incredible. Some of the songs we've seen today are amazing. I've seen Abby do the robot for the first time.
Wow.
I thought that was incredible.
Possibly the last.
And I yeah, essentially. And it was all done on our anniversary. And, I know she wouldn't have wanted it any other way.
Okay. And Dave, your first series on the podcast, have you enjoyed it?
Oh, it's been absolutely cracking. I think the big thing is that the fun we are having a laugh, and world's gone through a mad stage, but we're having fun. We're going to continue having fun. And we're going to get absolutely hench right, Chris.
Yeah, you sound like Avram Grant right now. It's great.
What I want to say, what I want to finish with is the famous Chumbawamba lines, which is, we get knocked down, but we come back up again,
Absolutely.
And again, which has become a podcast slogan, is that 31st of August, give or take a few days, potentially weeks, we will be back stronger.
Well, the final word of this 6th series of the Peter Crouch podcast falls to me. I'm going to try and be serious for a second. It's special. It's unique. The most important thing in any kind of communication, whether you're a commentator, a pundit, or a broadcaster, DJ, is engagement. And this podcast engages with you. You're the most important people in the podcast because you actually write the material. So keep that material coming. Do try to pass the pod if you possibly can. We've got a keg of loud, and later on, Statman Dave's going to do his stand-up routine. I'll sleep well. Make sure you do.